Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. TikTok has a brand new trans woman that they are loving to hate on. I don't think I've ever seen a trans woman get this much hate before, coming from both outside the community and within the trans community. It's crazy, and I wish I could say it was for good reason, but honestly, I'm not sure it is. For today's video, we're going to be talking about Miss Lilly Tino, a food critic over on TikTok who has been getting a lot of hate lately for getting misgendered and calling people out, for making TikToks that include analogies to bottom surgery. And most recently, she's gotten a lot of backlash for this TikTok in which she claimed that Kurt Cobain, the deceased Kurt Cobain, was a trans woman. For today's video, we're gonna be watching her most hated TikToks. And I want to talk a little bit about why people may be getting so upset with her, because I really think that there might be something else going on here. We're also going to watch some other TikToks from other trans creators who have been calling out Lilly Tino.
What is happening with this person? You are actually a weirdo.
Because I just want to. Now, before we react to the Kurt Cobain TikTok, her most hated TikTok, I want to talk about some of her other ones that kind of also got a lot of backlash. Starting with this one, it has the title, Times I've Been Misgendered, so I believe it's a compilation TikTok. Let's watch.
Looks like he's having a nice feast.
She, her.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's okay. It's all good.
But it was not all good.
Hi. I use she, her pronouns. I'm not sir.
Oh, so sorry.
Yeah, like it's like a knife in the heart. I did specifically ask ahead of time not to be called sir. Yeah, I'm just gonna go.
How dare she? How dare she get upset at being misgendered after asking to be called she, her? How dare she? You know, that's just so ridiculous. I understand how if, you know, you're not passable, right? And we can talk about the concept of passing in a different video, but you can't expect that everybody is going to know your pronouns right off the bat. That being said, I really don't think that that applies here. Honestly, I think that a large majority of the people that are giving her backlash are just transphobic. They're just transphobic. So many people in the comments were saying that, like, oh, you can't expect people to know that your pronouns are she, her. You can't expect people to know, and how dare you keep correcting them for, you know, misgendering you by accident, blah, blah, blah. She started with, hi, this is how I would like to be addressed. Like, I'm sorry, but I don't see getting upset with somebody for misgendering you after you ask them to call you she, her pronouns. I don't see that as a problem. After the first, second, third time correcting somebody, I think it's perfectly reasonable to get upset.
Like, stop, like, fuck off.
I don't know. I saw people commenting like, oh, she just goes to these restaurants and just waits for them to misgender her, blah, blah, blah. I don't think that's the case. I think that she goes in there and says, my pronouns are she, her, and then they just misgender her anyways. Again, I'm not even saying that it's malicious. I'm not even saying that it's purposeful. But if somebody tells you the way they want to be addressed, it's perfectly, you know, acceptable to expect them to call you what you've asked to be called, right?
Do you stink as much as being misgendered?
Or maybe you just want an amazing way to feminize or masculinize your vibe. Well, today's sponsor, Scentbird, is just the subscription service for you. With Scentbird, you can have personalized, authentic fragrances sent right to your house every month for as little as $7. I don't want to catch any of my followers stinking. You simply fill out a quiz online with your fragrance preferences. Scentbird's system will determine which ones would fit your taste the most, and you decide which out of 600 different brand options you want. Once you decide, you'll be sent a 30-day supply of your fragrance in a super cute, purse-proof vial to test and wear. The best part, Scentbird carries authentic designer brands like Versace, Gucci, Prada, as well as more indie brands like my personal favorite, Confessions of a Rebel. So you don't have to worry about smelling like a cheap knockoff version. You'll smell as if you purchased the full $200 perfume, cologne, gender-neutral fragrance, whatever it is. If you're looking to switch up your perfume, you know, just smell better on a budget, you can use my code for Scentbird and receive your first fragrance for only $7. Yes, you can get an ordinarily $200 scent for $7. Go to Scentbird and smell better. Thank you, Scentbird, for sponsoring today's video. And now let's get back into it.
Hi. I use she, her pronouns. I'm not sir.
Oh, so sorry.
Yeah, like it's like a knife in the heart. I did specifically ask ahead of time not to be called sir. Yeah, I'm just gonna.
You know, this one, I really don't understand why people were so mad about this. She was so respectful, so nice. Please don't do that. I already asked you not to do that, right? And it's not even like she threw a fit. She didn't start swinging. She didn't throw her plate anywhere. She said, I'm gonna go. Is that so bad? I would do the same.
Okay. The Sweetwater starts at
Yes,
okay.
sir?
Not.
I'm so sorry. I apologize.
It's just always like a knife. It always hurts every single time. I was wondering if there's a manager I could talk to about something that happened. Yeah, I was called sir.
Oh, okay.
It just really sucks every time it happens.
Sorry about that.
I don't need to be called ma'am. I just need to not be called sir, you know?
Okay. This one I kind of get. This one I kind of agree. You know what I mean? I agree a little bit more. So the waiter calls her sir, and she says, I'm not sir. I'm not sir. And he apologizes, right? He says, I'm so sorry. I'm sorry. It was an accident. I'm so sorry. And then she calls the manager and like rats on him after he apologized? No, I don't like that. Granted, this is a very, very short clip. Or maybe he just like kept going with it and kept going with it. And you know, it was something like that. I don't know. I personally would not do that. I think it's kind of cringy, but being cringe is not a crime. Let trans women be cringy. Let trans women be fucking weird, right? That's what I think this was. I think it was just a little cringy of her to like go and tell management, right? I don't know. Let's go to the next one.
Thank you. Did you call me sir?
That one's me as well. Did you call me sir? Was that a sir I just heard? So me.
I just want to tell you that the person who gave me this called me sir.
What?
Call me sir.
Oh.
It's just like, it kind of just hurts a lot to get called sir.
Oh, sorry about that. Okay.
See, yeah, no, I'm changing my mind a little bit. I think the issue here is that you can correct the person that misgenders you, right? If they call you a sir, you're more than entitled to say, actually, can you call me she? Not a sir. No, ma'am. No, thank you. What I don't like is like going above them to management when they're just like a server trying to do their job. I mean, to be fair, if they kept doing it, like if they kept coming up to you and like consistently being like, here you go, sir. Here's your little meatloaf, sir. Then I'd eat them. I would go to management too, because at that point it's just harassment, right? It's like, you know what I want to be called, and you are trying to call me that. You are trying to be offensive. At that point, I'm like, no, ma'am. No, ma'am, I'm telling your manager.
Now, you done pissed me off.
It's all about the intent, right? If somebody does not mean to misgender you, if they don't mean to hurt your feelings, it's not their fault. It's not their fault. It's just, you can't blame people who just don't know better. You can blame people who do know better and act that way anyways, act that way intentionally.
Thank you. I'm not sir.
Oh, sorry.
Not sir. Not sir. The guy who dropped.
Like that guy, I'd be fucking pissed at. That guy that like 3 times in a row. Here you go, sir. Enjoy, sir. Bon appetit, sir. I just fucking deck you. I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. I don't believe in violence. But that one just seemed a little bit vicious to me. You know what I mean? Like he's saying, sir, as he's walking away, not listening to her, just like brushing off anything that she says. That's kind of rude, kind of to me. Moral of this story, trans people are allowed to be upset when they get misgendered, especially when it's intentional, right? Whether or not you personally want to correct people when they misgender you, that's up to you. We should not be telling people, just suck it up. Just fucking deal with it. Deal with this emotional abuse, basically. Persistently misgendering somebody after they correct you and ask you not to do that is harassment. So yeah, that's the misgendering TikTok that she's been getting a lot of backlash for. The biggest complaint from people commenting that I have seen is don't treat your wait staff like that, right? Like you don't need to tell on somebody for misgendering you. And I agree and I don't. I agree that if somebody accidentally misgenders you and then apologizes and then corrects themselves, or it's legitimately a mistake, I don't think we need to rat them out. You know what I mean? I don't think we need to talk to management about it. I think that we can honestly either ignore it. I would never tell a trans woman that they should or have to ignore it, but you could ignore it. You could correct them. You can say, please don't call me that. You can express how it makes you feel. That is perfectly acceptable. What we shouldn't do is go above them. A server just trying to do their job who made a mistake. We shouldn't go above them and rat them out to their manager, risk their job, risk their income, all that kind of stuff. It's just, I personally don't think that's reasonable or like justifiable. Maybe she really was just trying to educate this restaurant. Maybe she really was just trying to inform the manager so that the manager could deal with it. You know what I mean? Could inform his staff that when somebody comes in and requests certain pronouns that you need to use them. Maybe that's what she was trying to do, but we don't know. You know, I don't know what her intent was with telling the manager. Maybe some of you do if you were watching the live. I want to hope that it was, you know, just in good faith to hopefully try to educate them. But the fact of the matter is that puts people's jobs at stake for an accident. And I don't think that's cool. It also like makes people like wait staff, whoever, a little bit afraid of talking to trans people, of waiting on trans people because they don't want to say the wrong thing and get in trouble. They don't want to say the wrong thing by accident and have their manager get involved over it. They would just prefer to wait on somebody else. We don't want to scare people into treating us right. We don't want to scare people into not misgendering us. We just want to request that they do and then move accordingly. If they respect it, that's lovely. If they go with it, that's lovely. If they continue to misgender you in a harassing way, tell on them, bitch. Rat them out. Or just leave. Just don't pay the bill and leave. So this next TikTok is from a series where she talks about bottom surgery or different surgeries that trans people have and uses food to create analogies, right? I saw one that she did a while back about orchiectomy, and she uses little cake pops to represent the testicles and says like, the cake pops come in this plastic or this paper bag, and I don't know, she just made an analogy to make it easy to understand how an orchiectomy works without using medical terms. This video is similar to that one in the sense that it is food analogies to explain bottom surgery.
I am finally getting my banana split later this year. I talked to my surgeon on the phone, and this is how he's going to do it. Step 1 is, of course, to split the banana. Inside the banana, we find a small tube of red licorice. You know this tube. It's the one that transports caramel sauce and frosting. We're actually going to shorten this tube, and I will show you why later. Next up, we're going to move our way back to the ice cream bag that is holding the 2 maraschino cherries, and we're going to remove them. I already had mine removed last year, but if I hadn't, they'd be removed now. Next up, we're going to remove the innards from the banana so that it's basically just a hollow tube. Now that we have our tube, we need to flip it inside. Yes, this is very messy, but it's also very worth it.
Ew. I mean, not cute at all. Not cute at all because, you know, it's just an intense surgery and, you know, whatever. See, now this one I'm like, okay, that's fine. That's a fine video for people who may be interested in the surgery or curious about how the surgery works and don't want to look at like animations of the actual anatomical parts having the surgery done to them, because they do have those videos and they're a little bit more intense to watch. I think this is a perfectly valuable tool, honestly. But our guy, Buck Angel, our motherfucking guy, Buck, he has something to say about it. Let's watch. This guy cracks me the fuck up.
I am finally getting my banana split later this year. I talked to my surgeon on the phone.
Wait, okay, so in the beginning he's like, what? But he says it like a tiny bit too early. So you know he's already seen the video and like knows what his reactions should be. You know what I mean? So he does all that for a minute through her video, but I'm gonna fast forward to where he just talks about the video because we just watched the video.
What? You just ate them? You ate your testicles and acting like the surgery is some kind of banana split? What is happening with this person? You are actually a weirdo. And the fact that you're talking about your genital surgery like it's a banana split is, first off, completely insane. Secondly, immature. And thirdly, I know what you're doing. I know what you're doing. And I see you. And it's gross. And you're making it seem like this is all fun and games. Why don't you go talk to some actual people who've actually had that surgery? Wow, just wow.
Shut up, Buck.
Shut up, bitch! Oh my God!
This fucking guy, he just hates trans people. I don't know what he's got going on in there. I don't know how he survives. He hates us. He hates himself, truly. This is what we call internalized transphobia. He's trying to portray himself as the good one, the rational trans person, the rational transsexual. Yeah, have y'all seen his fucking bio on Twitter? It's like, biological female living as a man.
Huh? What?
He says, this is why I wanted to include it, because like, what's the issue? What's the issue with her TikTok, truly? That she ate the fucking cherries that represented the testicles? Do you think that she's really gonna be laying there in surgery like, feed me the testicles? You can pop them up here, please. Save them for later. I'd love a little midnight snack. It's an analogy. You're the weirdo, Buck. You just ate them? They are cherries. We love cherries. He also says, I know what you're doing. I see you. You're trying to make it seem like it's all fun and games. I'm sorry. Where did she say that? Where did she say that the surgery was all fun and games? If anything, I heard her say, it's a very messy procedure, but it's worth it. She talks about splitting her banana, shortening tubes inside, removing things, and like that to you translates as, this is an easy thing. No, it doesn't, sir. You may see what Lily's doing, but we all see what you're doing, Buck. You're trying to throw other trans people under the bus so that you don't get thrown under the bus by trans folks. So that they don't kill you, they kill us instead, right? Because if you can remove yourself far enough from the rest of us, you think that they won't take you down with us. You think that you'll be safe when they come for us. I love to break it to you, Buck. You won't. Okay, and finally, the famous Kurt Cobain TikTok. You've probably all already seen this TikTok. It's been going a little crazy on the internet. I've seen so many people, specifically trans women, reacting to this video and trying to call Lilly like crazy and delusional and all these weird things to, again, make them seem like the rational one, make them seem like the good one. I love to break it to you guys. It does not matter how many surgeries you get, how passable you look, how many hormones you pop, whatever you do, anything that you do, you're still trans. They're still gonna hate you just as much as they hate Lilly. We can talk about how Lily's cringy. Sure. We can talk about how she's annoying. Sure. I'm not calling her those things. I'm saying if a trans woman is annoying or cringy, we don't have to like rip them apart. Trans women are allowed to be cringy. Trans women are allowed to be annoying, just like the next person, without having their identity attacked, without having people say that they're dragging down the community and hurting the rest of their community. That's crazy. Lilly is another trans woman like us who is just trying to find her way. Maybe she has some different opinions on what to do when you get misgendered. Maybe she has some different opinions on gender theory or whatever. Who fucking cares? All right, let's just watch it.
I bet you didn't know that Kurt Cobain was probably trans. Here's why. First off, Kurt wore a lot of women's clothing. And when asked about this, they replied that they wore dresses all the time because they felt comfortable and free. And just look at Kurt in these pictures. They look so happy. And in an interview about their childhood, Kurt said that they mostly hung out around girls and that at one point they thought they might be gay. Many trans people who don't have the vocabulary yet to express their gender identity will describe what they're feeling as being gay. That's exactly what I did in middle school. Kurt is also quoted as saying that they identify more with the feminine than with the masculine. This is clear proof that Kurt did not identify with the gender they were assigned at birth. And the most convincing evidence that Kurt was trans was in an early version of Nirvana's All Apologies lyrics, where Kurt wrote, "Let me grow some." That is clear-cut gender dysphoria. And of course, Kurt will never be able to tell us themselves, but the evidence makes it pretty obvious they were trans. That might be why Kurt's no longer with us. Maybe Kurt knew that we weren't ready.
Okay, so now I have a few little notes, like little tiny notes that I want to say for like the stuff that she said in the video, and then I want to talk about the whole video as a whole. First of all, wearing dresses as somebody who is male does not make you trans, does not mean that you don't identify as a guy. It just means that you like wearing dresses, right? Similarly, with the way that he said that he identified more with the feminine than the masculine, that does not make him trans. That does not mean he's trans, okay? That is just him saying that he liked feminine things. Guys are allowed to like feminine things more than masculine things without that having anything to do with their identity. I will say that a lot of trans women do use the term gay before they understand their identity because it's more commonly understood. For me personally, I identified as gay before I came out because it allowed me to express myself more freely than I could identifying as a straight guy. Oh my God, ew. It allowed me to date guys, so that, you know, made me feel a bit more free. But I really use this term because it was the term that felt closest. It was the only shoe that even relatively fit. It's the same way that Marsha P. Johnson says that she identified as a drag queen or she identified as a gay person before she had the word for transsexual. That doesn't mean that she wasn't trans or that she didn't view herself as a trans person or she wouldn't have viewed herself as a trans person today. It just means that she didn't have the words to accurately describe her life, to describe her identity. I don't know anything about the Kurt Cobain lyrics about wanting to grow boobs. I don't know anything about that. I will say though that no, I don't want to say anything about that. I don't know. It could mean maybe some, like he actually wanted to, or it could be just like a joke. Like he could just really have liked boobs and like wanted to touch them on his own body. I don't know. So yeah, those are my little notes. As for my bigger notes, my notes on the whole TikTok, it's a little difficult, right? Because there are definitely people in history that did not identify with the word trans, but today likely would have. Either they were born female and they lived their life as a man, but just called themselves a man. They never called themselves trans. We would understand them to be trans today, right? My issue with this TikTok is using these things to claim that he was definitely trans or saying that it was proof that he was trans because we just don't know. Personally, I don't really think of it as too big a deal to speculate on people's gender identity in the past. You know what I mean? I don't think it's the worst thing in the world. I think people are tearing her apart for it. Again, like I said, because she's a trans woman and they love to tear trans women apart whenever they can. Was he trans? I don't know. You don't know. We don't know. There were some experiences and some things that Kurt said that are very similar to what other trans women do say. But I don't know, we just probably shouldn't do that. I feel like it's fine to make little hypotheses and like, it's cute and fun, you know, like maybe he was trans and you never know. A little TikTok video, I don't think that's a problem. I have no issue with that, but people definitely did have an issue with it, I think. I think for a few reasons. I think people really loved Kurt Cobain. Obviously, I mean, I know people really, really loved Kurt Cobain. So transphobes that really, really loved him probably feel a bit upset that one of their favorite artists is being called a trans person and they hate trans people, or the people commenting are other trans women who think that they can get a one-up by putting down another trans woman.
I bet you didn't know that Kurt Cobain was probably trans.
What the actual fuck? Do you even know what trans is? I think even the they-thems agree with me at this point. People like you are literally ruining the entire trans movement. And even I understand why people can't stand us. You're the first to point fingers at people misgendering you, but yet you're sitting on camera claiming a famous celebrity that you've never met, who's dead, is trans. I'm so disgusted and frankly sorry for how we as a community have let these goblins become the face of our movement.
You're disgusted that these goblins are taking over the face of the trans community? Are you serious? These goblins? It's just these type of trans people that feel like they have to put down other trans people to get a one-up in society, to get a one-up in life by appealing to these people that hate trans people. It's crazy. Did we learn nothing with Kelly Cadigan? Did we learn nothing? She appealed to these people for so long that her entire audience became right-wing transphobic people that were looking for a trans person to say other transphobic things to validate it for them. And that's all her audience is. None of them even like her. As for Eden going on to claim like, oh, this is what's destroying our community and this is why everybody hates us. Really? You really think that trans influencers like Lilly, Tino are making our lives harder? Really? That is crazy. Maybe instead of pointing our fingers at our own community members, we could point our fingers at the people creating laws against us, killing us, the people that hate crime us in the streets. Remember that? Those are the people damaging our community. She says people like Lilly are gonna make sure the whole world stays hating us. Listen, the thing about a community, especially a community like the trans community, we can't control who's in it. If somebody identifies as trans, they're in the trans community. It doesn't matter if they're cringy, it doesn't matter if they're annoying, it doesn't matter if you don't agree with them on things. They're part of the trans community. It's so funny that Eden is like, well, you can't say that that person isn't trans after starting her video with saying, do you even know what trans is? Implying that she doesn't think that this person is actually trans or doesn't have any actual knowledge about what being trans is. So it's not okay for her to make a hypothesis about somebody who's dead, but it's okay for you to make a TikTok and tag a trans woman in it and say, do you even know what being trans is? That's okay? That's okay with you. Some of y'all fucking trans people have lost the plot, babe. You've lost the plot. All right, you guys, that was the last clip. Listen, to wrap it all up, is Lilly Tino my best friend? No. Is she somebody that I would be close friends with? Probably not. Is she a little annoying? Maybe a little. Yep, maybe a little. Is she a lot annoying? That's up for you to say, you know? Is she cringy? That's up for you to say, whatever. Like I said earlier, being cringe is not a crime. Being annoying is not a crime. Just let trans people freaking live. Let trans people live their lives and be who they are. We need to stop trying to control every last person in the trans community to make sure we have the best image of ourselves and make sure that we're putting out the best message to people about who we are. What do you mean? We're all just people. We're just people trying to live a way that makes us feel comfortable. And newsflash, having that solidified message to send out to the world that you want so desperately is not going to fix the community's problems. It's not going to progress the community. What is going to progress the community is education, is stories about our experiences and solidarity with our fellow trans community members. Lilly is not hurting anybody. She's a food critic on TikTok, babe. And I know for a fact that a lot of these transsexuals that are calling out Lilly and saying, oh, you're making us all look bad. I know they make jokes about who is and who isn't trans in private. Anyway, free my girl Lilly. That is it for today's video. Thank you guys so much for watching. Hashtag free Lilly Tino. I'm just kidding. She's kind of annoying, but it's fine. I post new videos every single week here on my channel, so make sure to go check out another one. Being cringe is not a crime, okay? Love you guys. Bye.